Welcome to another episode of Watch Me Do Family History with Chris Knudsen. Today we are going to help another neighbor of mine with their family history, and I'm going to show you how to do descendancy work. And this person is related to the neighbor of mine, and I want to see how we are related. So I'm going to click on this View My Relationship tab over here on the right. This shows that this person, Helen Irene Bradshaw, is my 8th cousin once removed. So if we go back up to our common ancestor, we see that we are related up through Ebenezer Billings and Anna Comstock. So let's go ahead and click on Ebenezer Billings. And I want to view Ebenezer's descendancy. So here we are looking at Ebenezer Billings. He married Anna Comstock, and they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 children. That's a lot. I only do family history work after the 1850s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going down this descendancy and until I get to 1850s. And we're going to look for families that have children who are not married and see if we can find spouses for those unmarried children. So let's go ahead and click on the last child, Benjamin Billings, and see who he married. So Benjamin Billings married Mary Dennison, and their first child was Desiree Billings. Let's click on her. And she married Clark Elliott, and they had a son named Euclid Elliott. Let's click on Euclid. Euclid married Abigail Starr, and they have 3 children. It looks like these 2 children might be the same person. Same birth date, Euclid Starr, Captain Euclid Elliott. There's a mistake here, but there's also a possible duplicate. Let's click on Clark Elliott. He married Almira Gillette, and they had a daughter named Abigail Starr Elliott. Let's see who Abigail married. Okay, Abigail married Timothy Lathrop Miller, and they had 5 children. Let's click on Catherine Elliott Miller. And we come to George. She married George B. Woodward. George B. Woodward had these 5 children. Let's look at the first one, George M. Woodward. So now we're getting into where we have George M. Woodward was born after 1850. He married Lou Bell Allen, and they had 3 children, Florence Allen Woodward, George A. Woodward, and Mary Alice Woodward. So let's go ahead and look at George A. Woodward and see what we find. Because George has this blue box thing over here that says that there's a record. So let's go ahead and click on George. And I'm going to right click on his person page and open this link in a new tab so that we don't lose this descendancy chart. So here we have George A. Woodward, and as we scroll down and look at his information, he was born at 17th of December 1904 in Oak Park, Cook County, Illinois, and he died the 12th of March 1995 in Harris County, Texas. Let's see what other information we have. We have a 1910 census in Harris, Texas, 1920 census in Harris, Texas, 1930 census in Houston, Harris, Texas, and an event registration 18th of May 1942 in Cook, Illinois. Wonder what that is. So we'll scroll down, and he does not have a spouse. His parents were George M. Woodward and Lou Bell Allen. And here are his siblings. So let's go up here and look at his sources. So we have a 1904 Illinois Cook County birth certificate, 1910 census, 1920 census, 1930 census, and something from 2002, George Allen Woodward, an entry for Florence Allen Woodward in an obituary. Florence Allen Woodward, was that his sister? Yes, Florence Allen Woodward. So in her obituary, she lists George as her brother. So what else do we have? We've got these new record hints here. George A. Woodward, United States Social Security Death Index. George Allen Woodward. So Allen must be his middle name. Texas World War II draft registration. And George Woodward, Texas Death Index. So let's see what this draft registration card says. So George was living in Bel Air, Texas. Relationship to veteran. Wife. So he's got a wife listed, so he is married. And his wife's name is Mary Morey Woodward. And here is the image. Let's go ahead and click on the image. Okay, so this was handwritten and signed by G.A. Woodward, George Allen Woodward. And how do we know this is him? Date of birth, December 17th, 1904. Date of birth, September 17th of December, 1904, Oak Park, Cook, Illinois. So he was place of birth, Oak Park, Illinois. So this is the same information that we have on FamilySearch, and it says his wife was Mrs. Mary Morey Woodward. That's kind of a weird middle name, Morey. Mary Morey Woodward. Okay, so we now know he was married and his wife's name is Mary. So we don't know her maiden name, but let's go ahead and put her in. Actually, let's go ahead and attach this record first. George Woodward, military draft, residence. I'm going to add that, Texas, Bel Air. We're going to click attach. And we're just going to drag Mary Morey Woodward up here as the wife and add that. She's female. We don't have a date of birth or a place, but if she was born anywhere near George Allen Woodward's age, she would be deceased. So we're just going to give a reason that she's deceased. We think is that because she's old. So I'm going to create new person and attach. Okay. So let's see what else we can find out on George. I'm going to close this. And let's look at, oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Let's click on the Social Security Death Index. He was 91 years old, 17th of December, 1904. Is his birth date? Yeah, that's him. Death date, 12th of March, 1995. That's him. So let's go ahead and attach this record as well. The more records you attach, the more likely you are to have the right person when all the information matches. And this is another death index. George Woodward, 12th of March, 1995. Interesting they have him as a senior, but there's no image. Senior would imply that he had a son named George Woodward as well. we'll go ahead and attach that. And let's close this tab. And we're going to close. Well, okay, let's see where they were living here. In this 19, when was this draft registration? Okay, this was 10/16/40, so October 16th, 1940 is when this draft registration card was filled out. He was tall, 6 foot, and he weighed 140 pounds. So he was a stick. 6 foot and 140 pounds. And he worked in Houston, Harris, Texas, but his address was 402 North Avenue C in the town of Bel Air. Must be part of Houston. I'm going to go ahead and close this tab. Okay, so now let's hit refresh and see where we are. So we have George A. Woodward. And now we have a wife, Mary Morey Woodward. Let's see if we can find any more information. So we don't have any more record hints from FamilySearch. So let's click on Ancestry. So here we have the World War II draft registration. And the thing I like about Ancestry is you click on a record that you know belongs to the person that you're researching. And then they have these suggested records, just like FamilySearch had the record hints. So we already have the 1910 census, the 1920 census. We already have the Social Security Death Index. We don't have this application. 1930 census, an obituary. That must be the obituary that he's in with his sister. We have a death index. Public records. Oh, here's a marriage record. G. Allen Woodward. G. Allen Woodward. Texas marriage record. G. Allen Woodward. Age 25. Birth 1905. Marriage 26th of October 1930. Marriage place Harris County, Texas. Spouse Mary Wallace. So birth 1905. That's just an estimated birth year. December 1904, so it's very close. Since we know George's middle name is Allen, let's go ahead and type that in. We'll hit save. So if the spouse is Mary Wallace, let's click on her and see what other information it has. Mary Wallace, birth date 1910. So we can add, her name is Mary Wallace and her birth date is 1910. So let's go and click on this Mary. And we're going to go to her person page. I'm going to open it in a new tab. And let's change her last name to Wallace. And birth year, we have 1910 from the marriage record. And let's go ahead and add that marriage record. So we've got Mary Wallace marrying G. Allen Woodward. I'm just going to highlight this. And we're going to click on Record Seek. So we're going to attach this using FamilySearch. Mary Wallace in Texas County, Select County Marriage Index. Mary Wallace, female, 20 years old, birth date 1910, marriage date 26th October 1930. So we're going to save this now and attach it later. So I'm going to hit save now. And we'll go ahead and close this page. So we're going to attach it now from the source box. So source, we clicked on sources, and we're going to add the source, attach from source box. Mary Wallace in Texas. Attach that. Reason to attach source. Same names as World War II draft registration. Okay, so now that we've attached it to Mary Wallace, let's go ahead and attach it to George as well. So we'll go to George's sources, and we're going to add a new source, attach from the source box. And we're going to click attach. Same info as World War II draft registration. Same information, meaning his wife's name was Mary, and they're living in the same place. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to George Allen Woodward. And we've got Mary Wallace in the... Okay, so I'm going to close that tab. And we're going to close that tab. So here we are back on George Allen Woodward. So now we've got some Texas birth certificates. George Allen Woodward. Let's see what that shows. Wife, Mary Marie Wallace. Marie sounds more likely than Maury. So Mary Marie Wallace is the mother, and they have a son. And they had a son, 5th of December, 1932. We like this because it confirms this couple is a couple, and it matches all the information we have. So now we know they had a child in 1932. And let's go ahead and attach this record. So we'll click attach and compare and attach, and we're gonna add this son, and we don't know if he's alive or dead, but let's go ahead and say that he's living for now. He could be 88 years old right now. So he could still be alive, but we're going to create this person and attach this record. We don't know what his name was. Sometimes this happened when birth records are created. And we're going to go ahead and close this tab. And let's look at this other birth index. It could be the same child. Ah, there it is. George Allen Jr., 5th of December. Okay, so now this confirms the previous idea that in the death record we saw where George Allen was listed as senior. So let's go ahead and attach this record. So we're going to attach. And second record showing Marie instead of Maury. So we got to make sure we change her name. And then we got to change his name to George Allen Woodward. Let's compare. Same information. Attach. Good. Okay, so let's go to this child, Woodward. And he's a living person. Let's change his name. George Allen. Okay. Let's hit refresh. So there's 2 more birth records for this guy. But really what I'm most interested in is trying to find him in a 1940 census. So let's see if we can find him in a 1940 census living with his parents. Here's a marriage record. He must have married a girl named Lynn. And in 1958, he married a girl named Lynn Spencer. And in 1962, he married a girl named Kay Anderson. And here he is in a school yearbook. Married, okay. George A. Woodward divorce. Is there a 1940 census though? Okay, let's click on this birth record. So here's a marriage record in the newspaper. Let's go ahead and change Mary Marie Wallace's name. So let's go back to George and click on her. See if we can find more information about her. Mary Marie. And let's hit refresh. Mary Wallace, Texas birth index. Okay, so let's click on all these and attach them if they're the right. G. Allen Woodward, Miss, so this was her first marriage. Spouse's birth year 1910. Let's go ahead and add this. So we're just trying to attach as many records so you take away the opportunity for other people to create a duplicate. The more records are hanging out there, sometimes somebody will find it and they'll create a person just by clicking on a record. If they don't know who the person really was, there's a chance they'll create a person just by that record. Okay. Ooh, this one's a girl. 1934. Let's look at that record. Sex, female. 9th of February 1934. Okay. So that is a different birth date. So this is a girl. And she's living, so we're going to create her. That way we know they had 2 kids. We'll attach that birth record. So that might help us find them in a census in 1940. Okay, and last one. Luann Woodward. There she is. Oh, we should have clicked on that one first. Now we have to type in her name. So we'll attach this record to the parents. And we'll attach it to the girl, Luann Woodward. I'm going to write that in. Hit refresh. Okay, one more birth record. Same one, it looks like. We'll attach. And this one has her father listed. And we'll close that. And we'll hit refresh again. See if any new ones pop up. No new ones have popped up. Okay, so let's see if we can find her in a census record. So we have Luann Woodward, birth record, birth record, birth record, birth certificate, birth index, birth index, birth index, birth index. Barbara Ann Woodward. Nope, that's not her. So, for whatever reason, these people fell off the face of the earth for 1940. Even though we have the World War II draft registration from 1940 for George Allen Woodward. So they had at least 2 children at that point in time. I'm clicking on this one again just to see if I missed something. Similar historical records. Yeah, so they don't have anything new there from the FamilySearch records. Let's click on Ancestry and see if we find Luann Woodward in Ancestry. Okay, we've got her in yearbooks. Passenger list in 1950. Flying on an airplane to Guatemala. Is that in Guatemala? Birth 1934. Interesting. Marriage 1957 to Joseph David Beasley Jr. That sounds like that could be Joseph David Beasley in Harris, Texas. But no 1940 census. Let's look and see just in this census 1940s. Maybe it's possible that that record just was so poorly aged that page that their family was on didn't work. Okay, I don't see it in here. So we'll go ahead and stop that. So we've got 2 kids, Mary Marie Wallace. Let's go ahead and hit refresh here. No more research helps from FamilySearch. No more record hints from FamilySearch. Let's do one last search on Ancestry. So in 1960, a Mary M. Wallace, well, that wouldn't make sense. She would be Mary M. Woodward at that time. Traveled to Guam. Let's edit her last name to Woodward. Okay. So nothing really jumps out here as making any sense. So that's all the information we could find on Mary Marie Wallace. We don't have a birth place. It could be Texas, but we're not sure. George Allen Woodward was born in Illinois, but moved to Texas with his parents when he was younger in 1910. He's already living in Texas. In 1930, they got married. Before the marriage, George was still living with his parents. But I think we're kind of wrapping things up here. Let's just look at this 1930 census real quick. So George M. Woodward is the head of household. He's 25 years old. He's born in Illinois. His mother, Lou Ann Woodward, was 59. She was born in New York. His sister, Florence Woodward, was 30, and she's still living there in the same house. So their father must have died before 1930. And there's a Mary Walker as a boarder who's 19. And this is the 1930 census. Mary Walker. Could that have been a boarder, Mary Wallace? Why would you have a Why would you have a boarder? Well. We're looking for George Woodward. Here we are, George Woodward. Yeah, who knows who this boarder is? Not necessarily. It says Walker. That's pretty straightforward. So it's Mary Walker, not Mary Wallace. So close though. W names. Anyway, we'll go ahead and do more research on this at another time. Just to kind of recap, we started off with the ancestor Ebenezer Billings. We came down and picked his youngest son and came down his descendancy until we got to George M. Woodward, who married Lou Bell Allen. They had 3 kids. George A. Woodward was listed as single, but we found his wife, Mary Marie Wallace. Let's go ahead and update this. Mary Marie Wallace, and they had at least 2 children, George and Luann. Okay, that's all for today. If you enjoyed watching this video, please click the like button. And if you would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch Me Do Family History. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again next time.